Hello, hello. How are you all doing? Hello, everyone. Happy to have you all here. Happy to have you all here. Hi, Max. Yes, honey, I love a red lipstick. Algenoy, I have not seen your face in years. We need to reconnect. Aw, thank you. I'm just going to wait for a few people to join, but I'm glad you all are doing well. I'm glad you all are doing well. I really am happy that we are all hopefully doing well and staying inside if we can. Rasadhu, good to see you virtually. Hello, my dear. Hi, Mani. I'm glad you all are joining. Today's topic, I'm going to be talking about my Activate Your Healing coaching program, which is based in Palo. And I'm going to explain sort of what that is and how it works, and let you guys know how you can sign up. John, my love, how are you? I tried to learn how to do technical things on here. There we go, pin comment. So there we have the topic. Cash App for those of you who are feeling generous and able to be generous. Hello, my dear. Hi, effing Noe. I'm good, my John. I've been thinking about you. We need to catch up. Someone else. Hey, Mani. Did I say that already? Rasadhu. I said hello. Designer Court. Hello. I'm going to get started in about 5 minutes. And that will be that. Malongo. Yaya Rasadhu. You guys are doing well. It's hump day. That means the week is almost done. It really means the week is almost done. And I'm appreciative of that. Rodney, my dear, you guys are so sweet. Thank you for all the hearts and for joining. I appreciate it. We're going to just give a few. David, I caught a piece of your live and I really liked it, honey. And when you said that piece about you just started laughing, I said, that's that Oshun laugh. That's that Oshun, you done got me fucked up laugh. Go ahead. Congratulations on this new album release, David. This is really important and big for you. And I'm wishing you all the blessings. And I know Oshun is going to send you all the blessings for that. That's that Oshun laugh. That's that bitch you done fucked up and you got me fucked up. But guess what? You about to be fucked up by yourself. That's what that is. But congratulations, David. I'm happy for you. That's really great and really important. That's really great and really important. Okay, just a few more minutes. Give people a few more minutes. I'm so glad that you all joined me. How are you all faring during this pandemic? How are you all, whether you are an essential worker or whether you are working from home? How are you all doing? Just drop a comment, a brief comment um, in the comment box and let me know how you're doing. Because it's important to check in, and I try to do that with everyone. Let me know how you're doing. Good. I'm glad. Well, John, I know you're doing well because we have our solutions, don't we, dear? Good. Are you an essential worker, Stoya? Good. That's important. You got to stick to your work, Mazio. Honey, these Zoom meetings and these Google conference meetings, it's olá, Fábio. Você é brasileiro, imagino, né? Obrigada. Eu não sabia que tinha brasileiros seguindo-me. Sorry, I was just speaking Portuguese to the who I presume is Brazilian. Yes, he is Brazilian who's joining me. Você mora onde no Brasil, Fábio? Up and down. Yeah, that's difficult, Noe. That is difficult. Wow, no Rio de Janeiro. Ah, legal. Legal. Seja bem-vindo. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for being here. I am going to speak to you about a coaching service that I just relaunched at the end of April. And I've titled it Activate Your Healing, and it's a coaching service. And when I first started to put this together at the end of last year, I was really thinking about putting together a service that I myself would want to use. And so as a Yayin Kisimalongo Apollo priestess, I wanted to think about the ways in which I could use core tenets of Palo Mayombe to support people in their healing. And so, as you know, if you've heard me speak about Palo Mayombe, I always frame it as a healing tradition, a tradition that is centered around healing and liberation. And so that being the case, I wanted to come up with a coaching service that would center those ideas and allow people to use that thinking as a foundation for starting to look at their challenges differently and using the combined knowledge that I have as a paleta, as a espiritista, as a muertera, as someone who has knowledge of the sacred herbs that we use in Palo to support people in their healing. And so that was my original intent. I started in November, and I was fortunate to have one coaching client who has stuck with me, and it's really been a blessing. What you don't realize when you put together these kinds of services is that as much as you are here to help people, these people come into your life and teach you a lot as well. And so I'm very grateful for that first client. And so I took some time though to really put it on pause and rethink and reorganize. And I really have asked Johns to thank for that, because her format for how she does her coaching services is really amazing. And so I borrowed that format, and she helps me with some planning where that is concerned. And so I reissued the program at the end of April. And if you go to my website, nagaraekadumu.com/activate my healing, you will be able to see the sort of long-winded version of the program. But it's really leveraging my 15 years as a practitioner of African-rooted spiritual traditions to assist people in prioritizing and then starting the actual work of healing. And so what does that look like? I have an initial consultation that lasts for 45 minutes that I use to go over step by step the intake form that I have people fill out when they schedule that consultation. And so that intake form asks for information such as physical conditions, any kind of mental illness, any kind of issues with diet, any, what kinds of social habits, drinking, drugs, all of those sort of almost kind of standard things that any that anyone would ask if they were going to any kind of practitioner. And then I sort of hone in on the things that jump out at me, you know. So if someone is talking about anxiety or depression or talking about trauma, those are the things that I'm going to think about and talk about in further detail during the consultation. Now, what I also am interested in is if the person has done any kind of coaching before and how was that experience. If they did coaching, what kind of coaching was it that they did? Have they any experience with spirituality? Do they have a spiritual practice? Because, of course, the coaching that I'm doing is grounded in this African rooted spiritual tradition, which is Palo Mayombe, as well as me leveraging other modalities that I'm trained in to boost and support this healing process. And so that 45-minute session is really spent sort of gathering information, doing due diligence, going sort of back and forth with the potential client, but then also leaving room so that the client can ask me some questions, because, you know, this is a two-way street. It's not just me offering a service. It's the person feeling like on the receiving end of things, they're really going to be getting the value and the things that they want out of the experience. And so it's an opportunity for them to ask me any number of questions as well. Once that exchange has happened, towards the end, I explain next steps, which involves me preparing a proposal, which I then send to the client. And upon the client's review of that proposal and them asking me any questions that they may have, they can let me know if they would like to proceed. And if they do decide to proceed, what package they would like. The packages are either 4 sessions or 8 sessions, and what payment plans they would like to use as well. Once I hear from a person about them wanting to move forward and they have approved the proposal that I've sent, that's when we do all the admin. We get all the admin stuff out of the way, and we can proceed with the sessions. Now, the first coaching session after the initial consultation is a divination. It is Apollo divination. And that is important because that helps me see all of the things that were invisible or not discussed or that did not occur to either myself or the client in that initial consultation. Because as spiritualists, we know that there are the things that are told to you verbally, and then there are the things that are not told to you. And amongst the things that are not told to you, that is where divination becomes a useful tool for being able to see and understand what that is really about. The divination, oftentimes, I would say actually probably about 90% of the time, reveals those issues that were not readily apparent, or goes further and explicates in greater detail the issues that the client did already bring up in the initial consultation. 90% of the time, there are works that are recommended that come out of that divination. And those works could be any number of things. They could be spiritual works that I do on behalf of the client. There are things that perhaps the client themselves may have to do. And those works are important and are useful because they help the client achieve a level of movement and progress such that we can then focus on the issues at hand, which are why they even came to me for coaching in the first place. And so first session divination, out of that comes recommended works. Now, I tell this to all my clients. I highly recommend that any works that come out of a session be completed. You're not obligated but I certainly do recommend that, particularly within the context of coaching, because they are on the successful completion of those works is only going to lay an even stronger foundation for generative movement and progress for the remainder of the sessions. So within the ongoing sessions that come after that, those sessions would prioritize working through any number of issues based on what it is that the client shared in that initial consultation. And that would happen through a lot of talking. There is quite a bit of talking. Let me be very clear that this is a coaching modality. This is not cognitive behavioral therapy. I am not a psychologist, psychiatrist, a licensed therapist. This is a coaching modality that I am leveraging with a basis in African rooted spirituality, specifically Palo Mayombe. So that I have made that clear. Subsequent sessions will include a lot of sort of talking things through, thinking about the different ways in which we can start to develop and maintain and sustain new ways of thinking and new emotional resources, so that we can really elongate the healing of these particular issues. There's a lot of continued excavation of issues to really get to the core. There's a lot of suggestion on my part of exercises that can be done to start to reorient one's mind and behavior towards healing, depending, of course, on what the issue may be. In addition to that, there's divination that happens in those subsequent sessions. It's not always Palo divination, but I practice other forms of divination as well. And the divination serves as a way for us to be directly in contact with spirit to advise on how to go about things. This is what differentiates the coaching that I do from coaching that other individuals do. And this was intentional for me because I wanted to ground it in the core tenets of Palo Mayombe, which are about healing and liberation, and orient people in that direction. In addition, there are other modalities that I incorporate. Energy healing being one, different forms of different other protocols that are similar but not precisely like hypnotherapy or NLP. Those are included as well, again, as a way of starting to rework our thought patterns towards healing, to be oriented towards healing. And in between sessions, I give exercises that are, again, precisely for the purpose of orienting the person towards healing, developing a toolkit so that individuals can feel equipped to continue to work on these. As you will see in the text on the Activate My Healing page, my view of the healing process is not a one-stop shop. The idea is that you embark upon this healing, you activate your healing by getting started, and you over time develop a toolkit for being able to handle these things. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. This is actually the precise metaphor that my godmother shared with me early on in my journey, which is you start to investigate and you peel back one thing, and you experience the benefits of having healed that or starting to heal that, but then you see all of these other things that still need to be fixed. And so my work with you is to begin to peel back those initial layers so that you can get some benefit and get some relief, but also start to see what the core and more central issues are. And so depending on what package you choose, it's anywhere between 4 sessions or 8 sessions. You can choose to pay per session and do as many as you like, Or if you know that you want to work with me for a set amount of time, you can do 4 sessions or 8 sessions. And then we commit to working together for that period of time, and we course correct as we go. You know, the plan that we had at the very beginning may not be the plan that we end up with by session 3. And we course correct, because this is a spirit informed process and our lives are dynamic. Things are happening to you on a regular basis. Things are happening to me on a regular basis. Spirit is informing our lives and how we move and how we think and how we feel. That is taken into into consideration. And so if we need to course correct, that's what we're going to do. And so that, in a nutshell, is the Activate Your Healing coaching modality. I am going to put that, if I can remember my own URL, I'm going to put it right here in this window. Please excuse my memory, you all. You know, it's kind of hard for me to keep so much in my brain, but I'm going to put it here so you all can take a look at that link when you have a moment. And if you are interested, feel free to sign up for an initial consultation directly from that page. If you have questions, contact me via email, and I am happy to discuss. There is that link. So, does anyone have any questions about this service? You're welcome. Thank you so much. Any questions about this service? Any questions about the process? Anything that I've said as it relates to Activate Your Healing and it being centered in the core tenets of Palo? I am very curious to know what you think. Feel free to drop your questions in the question box next to the comment. Oh, fixed costs. So the initial consultation is $75 for 45 minutes. Subsequent to that, as I said, I send the proposal. And once you have approved the proposal and you decide that you want to move forward, the sessions are, if you decide to pay per session, whether you use a payment plan or not, the sessions are $125. If you decide to do 4 sessions and pay in full, you get a 10% discount. So that becomes $450. And if you decide to do 8 sessions and pay in full, you get a 15% discount, which becomes $850, I believe. And so that is the commitment. Okay, I see I have a question here. Yes, so it's 1 45-minute consultation, and that's what I call the intake. That's where we are getting to know each other. I'm learning about why it is that you're interested in coaching sessions and all of that. Then if you decide that you want to go forward after you've received my proposal, then you can choose from either a 4-session package or an 8-session package. Precisely. So yeah, any other questions? I'm just out of curiosity, have any of you all done, oh, there, I see another question. Oh, I see 3 more. How long are the subsequent sessions? The subsequent sessions are an hour and a half every 2 weeks. No, the sessions are every 2 weeks, so twice a month. Is there any prep work for Apollo reading? No, Apollo reading, what I always tell my clients is that whether you come to me for a one-off divination or whether you come to me for coaching that includes divination, you simply need to come with paper and pen. Perhaps if you have some questions prepared, you can jot those down so that you can ask them. But beyond that, you don't need to do any kind of special preparation. That's not necessary. Okay, so this question often comes up. And so let me be very clear. No one is barred from receiving healing via Palo Mayombe. No one. The view that you are referring to has to do with initiation. This coaching service is not a preparation for initiation. I am not teaching you Palo Mayombe in this service. I am using the core tenets of Palo Mayombe as the foundation for this service. And so, as far as I'm concerned, as long as you come willing and ready to work on your issues, it doesn't matter your identity or orientation. The most important things to me for my clients are that they come willing and ready to work on their issues and that they are respectful. And that is also what your expectations should be of me. And this is why it's important to have that initial consultation so that you can feel me out and I can feel you out, because not everybody is for everyone. But where specific to your question, no one is turned away from healing. If you want to work with me, your being a member of the LGBTQ plus community has nothing to do with it. Has absolutely nothing to do with it. Initiation is another concern, but again, as I've said in other talks that I've done on the topic, initiation is not a foregone conclusion for anyone just because they're interested. And so it's different than what a lot of people are saying in relation to LGBTQ participation in Palo. But for the sake of this service and my healing services in general, I don't turn anyone away, provided that they are respectful and they're willing to do the work. I don't turn anyone away. Ooh, you all are popping up on here. Let me get to these questions. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to go in order. Okay. What might a regular session look like and what is the amount of time for session? So each session is an hour and a half. And the first session is always a divination. And the divination is what takes a deep dive and really looks and sees what else there is. Because as I said earlier, and you may have missed this, Kari, but what I said earlier is that there's what you share with me, and then there's what we can't see that may be lying beneath the surface, and that's what divination will reveal. And that's why I do divination, is to really see what those underlying issues may be that are not revealing themselves, or to go deeper and get a deeper understanding of some of the issues that you have shared. And so the first session is always divination. And in the divination sessions, I pull the bodies of information. I talk about them in depth. That there is then obviously an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you may have. If there are works that come out of that divination that need to be done, that I recommend be done, I will let you know that. And if you decide to do the works, which I suggest that you do, because it sets a groundwork, it sets a foundation for a generative subsequent sessions, I will let you know what those works are and what the associated costs are, and then we go from there. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. If after a consultation we move forward and do 45. Yes, you can always do additional sessions if you feel like you need additional sessions. That's not a problem. You can always do additional sessions if you feel like you need to. Not a problem. Okay, let's get back to these questions. I do all of my client calls using Google Meet. And so when the appointment is generated, it automatically generates a Google Meet link, and that is a video conference. And so I send all clients instructions on how to access this, access the technology so that we can do that. That also allows me to record the sessions and put them in a shared folder so you can access them for your notes. Okay. So the service is available on a rolling basis. It's already available. Anybody who wants to do the coaching, who's interested in the coaching, you can go online and book that initial consultation. And I'm going to drop the URL again so people can have it. Yes, honey, big Capricorn energy. I'm glad you peeped game, grandma, baby, apothecary. Activate big Capricorn energy. Activate your healing. Oh, I can't type. There we go. You all are coming through. I appreciate it. All right, so that answered Danny's question. Did I miss you guys? Okay. Let me go back to these questions. What are some good questions to ask during a reading to get the most out of it? Well, if you're doing the reading within the context of coaching, in my estimation, if it were me, I would ask those questions in relation to some of the healing things that you want to work on. You know, oftentimes what happens in readings, whether it's a one-off reading or whether it's within coaching, is that the reading touches upon issues of healing that the person has already shared with me, or that that they didn't necessarily know were issues. You know, and so oftentimes those things come up and you're just like, oh shit, you know. But it really is subjective. It depends on what it is that is going on with you at the time and what it is that you're interested in trying to work out. There is no standard question. It's really about what's in your mind and what's on your heart and what are the things that you really want to work on. Okay, let's get to these questions. Okay. So enrollment is open on a rolling basis. It's not closing. This service is open and it's not closing. The Activate Your Healing coaching service is open on a rolling basis. It's not closing. So you haven't missed anything. No. Again, it's open. It's open. I'm not closing. I'm not limiting the spots. I'm not limiting the spots. This is a service that I really felt like could have some resonance with people. It's certainly the kind of service that I could have used when I was starting out on my journey. And so I'm not limiting. There is not a limited number of spots for the Activate Your Healing service. Not at all. So at the current moment, I do not offer a discount for the Activate Your Healing service. There are discounts available for divinations, and there are discounts available for the month-to-month payment plan for the spiritual hygiene program. But this service, I am not offering a discount, and I don't believe that I will be offering a discount for this service. This is always an interesting question. Palo and Ifa do not relate to each other. The only connection that those two traditions have is because in Cuba, you had practitioners who were of Palo and practitioners of Ifa literally living in the same communities, if not the same household. But from a belief standpoint, from a geographical standpoint, from a practice standpoint, they are completely and totally different traditions. Again, there are some similarities, but they are not 100% the same. You have a lot of people in Cuba and in the United States who practice both, but just because you have people who practice both don't mean that the traditions are related. Just because two traditions are thrown together in the same cultural milieu does not mean that they are the same or even similar. Okay, hold on. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. In my estimation, having divination with another practitioner doesn't preclude you from this service, nor preclude you from working with me in any capacity if that's what you decided you wanted to do. It's really about making sure that whomever you work with, that you maintain the necessary protocols, that you do the works that are told to you, and you handle each of the relationships with respect. That's how I view it. Okay, Afro Mayan, I am taking students in the spiritual hygiene member circle, and that is at a very reasonably priced price point. And so if you go on my website, actually I'll DM you after I'm done with this so you can have the direct link. But that is a program where the admission closes at the end of May. And so if that's something that you are able to do, that would probably be the best. But I'll send you a DM, or rather I'll send you an email. I'll send you an email about that so you'll have the information. You can decide. I'll send you an email also, Danny. Okay. So, certainly you may be able to benefit from coaching with me, but Palo and Ifa, in my estimation, don't work together. They're two different traditions. They had two different sets of rules and two different sets of protocols. They come from the antecedent traditions for both Ifa in the diaspora and Palo in the diaspora are African peoples who reside in two vastly different geographic territories of the African continent. You're talking about the Yoruba people in West Africa, on the Bight of Benin, and then you're talking about various Bantu people in Central and in West Central Africa, along the southern Atlantic coast. And so this whole notion that they work together is, in my estimation, false. Now, if you're asking if you can study Ifa and also do my coaching program, I don't see why not. But as the two traditions are independent of each other and should not be mixed and should not be considered the same. But also at the same time, as I said, I'm not teaching you Palo Mayombe. You are not my godchild. I am not even mentoring you in Palo Mayombe. I am using the core tenets of Palo Mayombe to inform a healing process that is centered around healing and liberation. If you've heard me talk about Palo Mayombe, you will know that the way I frame it and the way my godmother and my elders and my lineage frame it is as a healing and a liberation tradition. And so it's important that you be clear that Palo is one thing and Ifa is another thing, and this is as important for someone who is a priest of like myself of Palo as it is for someone who is a priest of Ifa. They are two different traditions. And so I don't see why it would be an issue to seek out coaching for me if that's perhaps what you're interested in. But I just want to make sure you're clear that these are not two traditions that are working together. That's not how I see it. Some other practitioner may think otherwise, but that's not how I see it. Okay. You all have asked me some good questions. I appreciate it. Are there any other questions that anybody has? This is going to be saved and it will be on my YouTube channel so that you can refer back to it. But yeah, that's it. That's the service. That is indeed the service. I appreciate you all joining. If you all don't have any more questions, I'm going to run off here and fix myself a nice dinner. And I hope you all have a lovely, lovely evening and a lovely end to your week. I believe, just so you know, Satara and myself are going to do a full moon tarot. Well, I'll do the tarot and Satara will do cards or dice. And we will do that tomorrow evening in honor of the full moon. And so check my stories and check her stories. We'll post it later on today and stay tuned for that. But otherwise, thank you guys so much. Mwah. Be well. Take care. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I hope to hear from some of you if you're interested in the coaching program. All right, y'all. Take care. We will talk soon. Bye.